Hello and welcome back to Mambition.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And this is Tiffany. I promise to be a bit more normal next time. I'm working on it.
I thought
Not.
you were going to say this time.
I know that I've used that random card, but sorry guys. I really do try, but hey, this is all you're gonna get.
I think, you know, we want to try and be ourselves. So
I think
normal's
so
probably
too.
not what you're going to get if you're listening to this.
Move along if you want normal. So yeah, welcome back to I don't know which numbers we're on now. We've probably lost count, which is good. It's good.
Either
And this,
6 or 7. So we're doing quite well.
I think so too. Let's take a moment to just congratulate ourselves.
Yep.
Mini clap.
Mini
Right.
clap.
Mini clap. And this episode, we want to talk about the mum guilt, ambition and anxiety, and how mum guilt typically manifests itself and strategies in which you can use to cope with it. I'll let you get started, Alex.
Okay. Well, I think mum guilt's it's a really thorny topic, isn't it? Because I think people do feel it about all sorts of things. They feel guilty about not spending time with their children. Then when they are spending time with their children, they feel guilty about that they're not giving like 100% at work. And I think for me, I would say the thing about it is it means you're never wholly there for whatever you're doing. Do you know what I mean? I think that your mind's always like split and you're kind of half in the mum, like you're half in the mum world while you're working and vice versa. So, you know, you're feeling bad about not being with your kids, but then you're feeling bad about what you're missing out on doing at work and opportunities and things like that because you've kind of said no to them for your kids. So I think, yeah, you just feel split all the time.
This is true. I mean, I'll give an example. Even I've my husband was away for Mark was away for about 2 days, and I had the kids all the time, man. I mean, congratulating myself for that. I survived, guys. I made it. And he came back and he suggests, "Oh, I'll take the kids out," and I suddenly feel bad about it. How crazy is that? Even the very idea of leaving him with them to maybe go and do something for myself, I felt bad. And what I've learned is that this normal. It's normal to feel bad. Everybody feels bad. But again, I'm not saying live with feeling bad. I think obviously it all depends on levels of feeling bad, but it's very normal because as a mom, I think it's because you're trying to balance so many things. You're trying to balance so many like spinning plates. And because of that, sometimes it feels as if might feel as if a little bit like you're inadequate and or you're not trying enough, or
Mm,
sometimes I feel bad for having a career, and
yeah.
that's coming from me who's quite a confident person. So I work from home. Sometimes I can hear my daughter crying and she's just quite attached to me. We have a new babysitter who's amazing, and yet my daughter's still getting used to her, and she will cry. And the other day she was trying to climb up the stairs to come and talk to my office. I'm saying, Mama, Mama. And just
Oh,
hearing a voice say, Mama, it breaks my heart. And I feel, for a moment, I do think, wow, am I selfish for wanting a career? Am I selfish for wanting more out of my life? And that's wild.
yeah. And then, like, even just to come and do this, I was playing with Ted just before I came up. It's Easter Sunday, so happy Easter, everyone. So, we're
Happy
off, we're at
Easter.
home. And yeah, I was just playing with him and I said, I'm going to have to go. I need to go upstairs and do this. Daddy will play with you. And he said, I don't want you to do anything with me, Daddy. Which I want mummy. What about you?
Wow.
So, even coming just upstairs to record this, which, we've said we've made a commitment to, we're going to do it every week, you know, I'm coming upstairs feeling a little bit bad, even though this is something I definitely want to prioritize. And I've spent all day with him.
It's not
I've
enough.
been with him since we woke up at like 7 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Did you end up going out with, sorry, did Mark end up taking them out?
Yes, it
When,
did.
yeah. Okay.
It did. And yeah, and again, I think it's just this push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. You're like, when you're with them, you're like, oh, I'm a bit tired. I could do with a break. And then you get the break. You're like, oh, no, 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 I don't need a break. It's fine. No, really, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. And it's, again, I just think it's normal. I'm starting to accept it. I think the more you accept that it's normal, the more you feel bad about feeling bad. Because I think that's the worst, isn't it? When you feel bad that you feel bad and you feel my bad mom for wanting a bit of space, a bit of sanity, and I actually just want to stare at the wall. I mean, now if you left me at home for an hour, I'd be so happy. I'd be there like this. I could watch paint dry because it's just silence till loss.
Yeah, you kind of forget how rare silence is, how nice it is when, like,
Yeah.
before, the time, and like, could have just like been lying on my bed listening to music and stuff like that pre-children. No.
Gone. And that's the thing. But so if I think the message you were sharing or trying to portray is that even though it looks like, we both got our stuff together, we're both confident people, we want to just say it's normal, like it's normal. But obviously it's normal to feel bad sometimes, normal to feel as if you're doing enough. It's normal to feel like, oh, I could do more. It's normal to feel, I mean, another thought I'll share is that recently, sometimes I find myself asking myself whether I'm a good mom. And that's not because I feel that I'm not a good mom, but I feel like, oh, am I a good mom? And I start like looking for evidence of me being a good mom. And I think, why am I even thinking that? How wild is that? Like, why am I sitting there thinking, well, am I a good mom? And I start thinking, of course I'm a good mom because, I put their needs before mine. I always make sure they're okay. And again, I think it's just these voices in your head where you're just trying your best, but it's hard. And, I think, sometimes you get a little bit emotional about it, but it's just normal. I think it's just a normal. I'm not the first woman who's going to feel bad. I'm not the first mom who's going to feel like maybe she's not doing enough or maybe she shouldn't have a career because it seems a bit selfish. And it's okay. I think it's okay to feel these thoughts.
Yeah, and of course you're a good mum and you're like an amazing mum. I see you with the kids and
Thank you.
you're so lovely with them. But I think that, is there not an element of, if you're not a perfect mum, which doesn't really exist, then those feelings kind of creep in if you're not doing everything perfectly. So, the kind of example of no screen time, no sugar and stuff like that. And I think if you're not doing all of these things that you see and people making a big deal out of on social media, I think you can feel like you're falling short when actually no one's perfect. No one's got it all together. And I reckon as long as you are I try and aim for 80%. 80% of the time, if I try like my absolute best, it's fine for a small amount of that time. If I need Ted to have his tablet while I'm often just tidying up or like making some food, then that's fine, and I'm going to feel okay about that. But I think even if you just need a little break where you need to step away, that's also fine as well. But it is really tough. I think that kind of concept of, and the expectations that come with being a mum. It's
Yes.
like that thing of, everyone's a perfect parent before they've had children. And then you're like, oh God, all of these things I said I would absolutely not do, I'm just doing.
Yeah. But that's a good point, Alex. And I'd love to, obviously we've kind of talked about the situation where we do feel bad and we have said, yes, we're going to feel bad a lot and that's okay. But I'm interested, especially from you, Alex, because I do find you to be a very confident person. And I'm keen to know, where did you find your mom confidence from? I mean, did you have a friend that was a mom and you studied her? Or because you do seem to have a healthy perspective.
So I think, well, my parents had a child when I was almost 12 when my sister was born. So I've got a brother as well, but we're very close in age. So I was in secondary school when they had my sister. So I was around her growing up with obviously a big age gap. So I looked after her quite a lot. So I had I changed her nappy even. I had a lot of confidence in looking after a child, and I knew I could probably, manage to keep a child alive when I brought one home. And I read quite a bit in the way of, well, I don't want to say parenting stuff, but I quite like the gentle parenting stuff. I like the not shouting at them and trying to be empathetic when they're doing things wrong, trying to put yourself in their shoes and understand that, if they have done something that seems naughty, it's that they don't understand. They're like testing boundaries, or they just don't understand the permanence of like scribbling on your wall or whatever.
Oh, how's that this weekend?
Oh, really?
How's that this weekend? First time in the kitchen though, so I was like, oh, I don't really like that color wall anyway.
It's a good excuse to paint it, isn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of being a parent is about instinct.
Wow.
And I feel quite comfortable in my own instincts. I don't really know where that's come from. Oh, thank you. I can see the little clap happening there. I feel like because I do try to be empathetic and understand him, like I don't, the odd time that I've sort of gone, Ted, because he's doing something where he could hurt himself, he looks so shocked that I've raised my voice at him like that. And I think I just want to kind of treat him with respect and understand him, even though that, that can be trying. I'm not saying it's easy. But I feel like what I'm trying to do in terms of parenting is quite intentional, but also that it's an instinct. It kind of chimes with my own instincts anyway. I joined some like gentle parenting groups and stuff like that just on Facebook. Last time when we were talking about like networks and community, one thing we didn't really talk about was the kind of networks that you can have online. And I'm in a couple of parenting groups. I'm in one for people who've just got one kid as well, like how to entertain them when they don't have siblings. But yeah, I feel quite comfortable in my parenting, and I generally feel like I am a good mum, or mam as we should call ourselves.
Mom, still getting used to that.
But yeah, I genuinely like feel quite happy in my parenting. I'm not saying I get it all right or all perfect, but I guess I've learned from, everybody's like, I'm sure I'll make my own mistakes, but everybody sort of has things that their parents did that they don't want to repeat. And my parents are absolutely lovely. But there are still things about my childhood and parenting, and like they were very strict about a lot of things. And I think that some of that backfired a little bit. I think, trying to be understanding and empathetic is probably the route I want to go down. But yeah, I kind of have a bit of an innate confidence in that. I don't know whether there's a theme developing here that I just think I'm great at everything.
She's just great. Okay? I'm just great. Well, I love that because, again, confidence is something a lot of mothers struggle with. And I can see it now in my experiences how, I'm a very confident person, but I can see how if you don't have that confidence, you would struggle. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I recently opted into a mentoring scheme for mothers, and I opted in as a mentor. And I was speaking to the lady, she said, oh, thank you so much for opting in, and we're looking for a lot of mentors. And I said, oh yeah, absolutely, I'd love to help someone. I know I can help someone with something. And towards the end of the conversation, she was saying how they've had so many mothers apply as mentees, but not just a handful as mentors. And I was thinking, wow, I wonder if that's to do with confidence, where if it was a man, if it was a program maybe directed at men, would the findings be different? Where actually get a lot of men coming and say, I can be a mentor, and few are saying I want to be a mentee. And that was just an observation. Again, it's just because of confidence. I think a lot of people think they're not maybe enough to be a mentor. But anyway, that's just another example of how women and the dynamics of that. But that's a topic for another day. But I think I like that. I like watching how you parent, Alex, because again, I like your kind of healthy approach to it. And I think that's the most important thing. It has to be healthy. And I'm confident, but at the same time, like I said, I have moments where I just ask myself these questions. It doesn't make me feel bad or anything, but it's just questions I ask myself. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hey, we'll work on it. But I am. Go ahead.
Oh, go on.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I was just going to say, I think it probably is healthy to question it. I mean, I think, having that kind of self-awareness to question, and
yes.
I'm it's not like I never question stuff, but generally I'm happy with the decision I come to. And I mean, there are still definitely things I'm absolutely clueless about when it comes to being a parent. And I think, thank God, the internet's there because you can Google stuff, but we ended up going to the hospital in the middle of the night because Ted had croup and I had absolutely no idea what it was. Like, ended up in the hospital in my slippers in the middle of the night because it was like, even though it's quite a well publicized condition, I had no idea. And we literally just woke up and ended up driving to the hospital. But I think, yeah, you can't know everything. And I think for me, some of the confidence comes from being okay with that. Like, being okay with nobody can know everything. It's okay to not know things. It's okay to work things out. And actually, as long as your kind of intentions are right and you're trying to be a kind parent and you're not shouting at your children all the time and stuff like that, and I think, you're trying to make the best decisions for them. And yeah, I think it's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, I like that. But that's what it is. It's like I said, it's instinctive. Mothering is instinctive. We don't have a book, before you become a mom, nobody gives you a book and say, hey, here's a book, read it and you would know exactly what to do. And that's what's scary about it, but also amazing about it. And I think you make a point that a lot of mothers need to lean into their instincts, because once you do that, you realize that you are maternal, you are nurturing, and you do love your children because you always put their needs above yours. And if you're doing that, you're already doing your best. So yeah, let's take a moment, ladies, to congratulate ourselves. I'm all about congratulating. Now get out of here. But no, it's yeah. So in terms of, and I think you also make a good point about, the instinct thing is a good way to cope with the mom guilt, because again, there's no perfect anything, but if you have a desire, if for example to have a career, that's just something that's inside of you. And not that there's anything wrong with being if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's even great. I wish I want to be a stay-at-home mom sometimes, because it's just so many things that you're trying to balance. But yeah, back to that, if you have a career, for me, it's instinctive to want to have a career. That's the best way for me to describe it. I just feel like there's another aspect of myself that I want to explore and realize, and because of that, that's hard, because again, it's just trying to balance both. And I'm thinking, but I'm not going to give up on my career, I'm not going to give up on my goals, and so I'm going to have to live with this slight occasional mom guilt, and that's okay. But in terms of moving on from the problem to the solution, what I found for me is to look at a bigger picture. So on a day-to-day basis, you might feel bad here or there, or feel like you're not doing enough, or I wish I was with them more, wish they were not here for a couple of hours. But if you look at the picture of the decisions you're making, you know that in a bigger picture, if they're hungry or something, you'd feed them first before feeding yourself. Like, even sometimes when I have food in front of me, I'm always thinking about them first. I'm like, I would rather starve and feed these children, so it's funny how, and I think that desire in itself and that taking action on that, it's the bigger picture of how you're a great mother. So, for anyone who needs to hear that, and you don't need to ask yourself the smaller moments of questions. And I'll give you another example. So my sister was round for a few days and she was looking after the kids, and I went out for coffee. Just a couple of hours. Even that, I feel, can I leave her with them? It's like, would they need something while I'm gone? Oh my God. Anyway, left them for a couple of hours, went away. She sent me a few pictures of them, food. And she said, oh, by the way, I've played head, shoulders, knees and toes to them. And it's not the grime version, by the way. Apparently it's a grime version. Did you know that?
The grime version.
There's a grime version of head, shoulders, knees and toes. So
I
that's
mean,
like,
no, I'm clearly not cool enough to know about that.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, so she said, I've played the clean version to them. Anyway, and then I got back and she actually looked at me, said, she's like, oh, I'm going to congratulate myself. I've looked after them for a couple of hours. I've done so well. And I said, I was shocked. And I thought, wow, like, it's crazy how I've been doing this for 3 years, but I don't think I've sat there to congratulate myself. But my sister thinks she can congratulate herself. And I mean, I'll put it out to the listeners. I mean, you might have been a mom for 5 years or 10 years, but have you ever thought about congratulating yourself? How about you, Alex?
Probably not. I think everyone's just so busy rolling with it all the time that they're not like, well done.
Yes.
Well done. Survived another day.
But yeah, and that's it. Look at the bigger picture. Like, you're doing a great job. You're keeping this little person alive. And when you can do that, I think that really does help you to manage the mummy guilt.
Yeah, I think so. And the other thing I was thinking about in terms of solutions, I can't remember where I saw it this week. It was like some probably social media account I follow or something like that. Thinking about the example that you're setting to your children by continuing to have career and your own life and kind of priorities, and how, you know, that helps you to be a good role model for them. Now, I think that it doesn't mean you have to have a career necessarily, but I think having your own interests, maintaining your own personality, and, you know, even if your kind of aspirations are around being a stay-at-home mum and raising your children,
That's
I think,
harder.
yeah, definitely. Sometimes I'm like, not like I'm having a rest at work, but like I have the brain space to think about one
It's
thing
easy.
rather than hearing, "Mummy, mummy, 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 yes, Ted, mummy, yes, Ted, mummy,
I'd rather be at
yes,
work.
Ted." What is it you want, darling? Mummy. And sometimes there's no like stopping him from saying that
Yeah.
either. But it means, you know, work, I can concentrate on one thing. But I think, yeah, definitely it's about the example that you're setting, about you haven't let I think about following your dreams, whatever they are, showing your children that you can follow your dreams and do what you want in life is a really powerful example to them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I saw, and this was definitely just on social media, but it was somebody saying that even though sometimes their house is a mess and they feel like they've got to be tidying up, etc., sometimes they just sit and do nothing. So their children see that women are allowed to sit and just have a moment to themselves as well. Because whoever it was basically saying, as a child, they never ever saw their mum or their gran just sit down, and they were always running around after other people. So they make a point, even if they're like in their head screaming, like, I need to go and sort out the kitchen, sit there and they'll drink a cup of coffee to show their kids, like, no, I'm entitled to rest, and kind of give the other, like the flip side of there being an example in terms of following your dreams. But actually, we're just human and we need a rest as well. So giving them that kind of balance of, you know, I'm a person and I deserve this break and rest as well. And I think they're two sides of the same coin, because you can't have the ambition and stuff like that without the kind of replenishing yourself and the rest. But I think that being that example to your children of what it means to be a working adult ambitious woman, but also like you're still entitled to rest in there as well. And I really liked both of those things, even though, you know, one's about career and one's about having a rest. But I think that kind of helping your children understand that you're a human with your own wants and desires as well, and helping them understand that it's okay for them to feel like that too. You know, especially for you having a little girl, you want to set them a good example of being in a relationship, and not that women are just there to kind of run around after men. And I certainly don't want my little boy growing up thinking that I'll just run around after him and Eddie.
I
You
like
know.
that. This is true though. It's the message, right? It's not the things you say, it's the things that you do. And that's very true. That's something to just watch out for. The idea of a woman running around the house and doing everything. I like that a lot. It's about this is how we change generational experiences, right?
Mhm,
By setting new standards. And like you said, a lot of it is watching what your parents did.
mhm,
And, you know, our parents are not perfect. They try their best, you know, in that context. But how can we do better? That's really what it's about, isn't it? You don't want to just pass things on. So you want to be more conscious, be more aware, and think, what's my daughter or son going to think of this? I
mhm.
really like that, and that's true. That's something even I'm continually working on. Again, once I get a cleaner, right?
And I think some of it's like real conscious thought about it, because your natural reaction might be to like be jumping up and tidying and things like that. And you might feel a huge amount of guilt about stepping back from that and maybe doing things to 80% instead of 100. But I think changing those expectations of you doing everything is quite important as well. And not just of your children, of your partner, Yeah, I think it is really important. And like you say, kind of changing that generational pattern of women
Yeah,
doing everything. I think it is definitely something to be really aware of and try and push back on that guilt. The more you
that's
do
true.
it, the easier it will be
Yes.
to kind of push away that guilt that you're feeling.
This is it. This is it. Another solution that I've found as well is just let go of trying to be a perfect mum. This is a huge one because again we're bombarded with different images and experiences but I mean I don't actually use social media a lot. Well, I use LinkedIn a lot, but I'm not a big user of like Instagram or Facebook, so my my exposure to other people's lives is very minute. I mean, I'd probably say I spend 5 minutes on social media a
Mhm.
month, if anything. If I go on social media to post something, or I don't look stay there, but I know a lot of people use social media, and that's use as you want to. But I think a lot of times people are bombarded with this idea of perfection or perfect parents or perfect mothers, and it's not it's not, I wouldn't say attainable, but it's not realistic. And the reality is you will make mistakes. A lot of times you might feel like you're not doing enough, and you think, oh, some days I think, oh, I probably should have read today. I didn't read to them today. Oh, I could have done that. Oh my God. But there's no perfect anything, and your kids don't care. They're not looking for a perfect mom. I'll give you an example. The other day we were by the seafront, and I was doing, so I tend to do exercise alongside my children because again, I don't have time to go to the gym like I used to. And oftentimes we go to the seafront. I'm going to take my resistance band. I'm going to be doing my squats as we're walking or something. I know, crazy. And I was saying to and then sometimes my son's gone into this habit where he's like, "Stop, mommy, stop," because I think he's slightly starting to get embarrassed. And I just said to him, I said, "Listen, I think this is just the beginning. I'm going to embarrass you all your life, so I'm sorry in advance. I'm really sorry, but I just can't not be this person." And I said, maybe, there might be, I don't know, do you want another mummy? He goes, no, I want this mummy. And he started pointing at me. And I just thought, wow, like, this is it. Like, your kids love you as you are. And our idea of trying to be perfect is just our own framework in our mind of what a perfect mom should be, or this person should be cooking or cleaning or, staying at home. So just let go of that. And the more you let go of that, you can just be random and fun and normal and crazy and just normal, and that's cool.
And what they're after really is the time spent with you. And yes, there are things that you can do for them, like reading. That's a great way to spend time with them. Do you know? I'll give you this tip for free. I have entertained Ted this weekend by blowing up a long sausage, one of those long balloons like a sausage, blowing one of those up and letting it go. And oh my God, he'd never
Wow.
seen that happen before. He thought it was the funniest thing he's ever seen. And he's gone and got them. We have done this for hours. I'm not kidding, over the weekend. And he
Okay.
says, I'm
I'm
going to
buying
get the
one of
really
those.
funny balloon. I know we said we weren't experts in parenting, but this
You
is a
know,
tip for parental survival, I think. Honestly, it's meant I've been able to sit on the sofa with a cup of coffee. I've blown up the balloon and then
wow.
given it to him, and then he's letting it go. And it obviously goes off around like the living
Aw.
room. And honestly, he's been entertained for hours. So how much are balloons? Like 10p? And it's been that, doesn't have to be anything expensive.
Yeah. This is it, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's enjoyed spending the time with me. He's found it really hilarious. And, I've been able to, instead of sitting on the floor, sit on the sofa, and like, then the balloon flies off and he's run away and got it and brought it back to me. And I could feel guilty, like, oh, this is a bit of a half-assed way to entertain my child. But actually, he's been loving
But it
it.
works.
I think he's had the most fun he's had in weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because at the end of the day, you look back and think, oh, that was a fun day. And Sebastian says that now. He goes, oh, that was fun.
Oh.
That was a fun day. I like that. Just keep it simple sometimes as well. It doesn't need to be this, don't have to act or play or, kids don't care, they just want you to have fun with them. So you don't have to feel bad that you're not doing enough of the things that you think you should be doing more of, like reading and, you know.
Yeah, or like, when people set up these like elaborate creative setups for their children to play with, the kind of tough tray, dinosaurs and stuff like that. It
We
looks
want to see on
fantastic.
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly, like that kind of thing. And we did, after watching lots of YouTube stuff, build a volcano, but we played with it. Like the building of it was much better than the actual eruption of the volcano. But I did feel like at that point, I'm like one of these YouTube mothers and I'm doing like a really elaborate craft with my child. But we could have done anything. We could have played with a balloon for 2 hours instead of doing that. And he did enjoy it, but I think you don't have to compare what you're doing, and it doesn't have to always be big things. And you don't have to feel guilty about not doing that sort of thing with your children. I don't really like doing a lot of things that involve mess, or like painty mess. I'd much rather he did that at nursery, but he's still getting the opportunity to do that. So I don't feel guilty about it because it's not like he's missing out. And then I'll do things that I am good at with him.
Yeah, I like that. And my last point for like a solution, I was just thinking about it, is remember that you're writing your own motherhood story, and you're writing your own motherhood story. You don't. It's like right now we have our own books in front of us. We have pen and paper, and we're writing it. So we don't need to look at other people's books. And remember that you can only take inspiration from what's around you. You can take inspiration from your past, right? You can take inspiration from your childhood story. Not everybody had a great childhood story, but you can take the bad parts and you can take the good parts from that and leave the bad parts. You can refine it. You can say, actually, I want to get so distant from my childhood that I want them to have a different experience. You can shape it as you want, and I think that's quite powerful. And because of that, there is no blueprints, there's no anything. Just write your story and just enjoy it. It's going to be chaotic. The best stories are messy. Just write it as you want to and enjoy it. And I think that's important when you're aware of how powerful that is, but also how there is no structure and it's just what you make of it. Then you realize that, hey, it's just about the adventure that we're having with our children.
Yeah, completely agree with that. We watch a lot of The Tiger Who Came for Tea.
Oh,
Don't know if you've watched that, but there's a song in it, and the line that I always think about is "Today won't come around again," and that I've taken this from a children's film, but I genuinely really love that, and it makes me think, yeah, fine, Ted, I will dance with you when the song comes on, because that this is it. This is the one chance we get to live this life. Make the most of it and do the silly little things that you enjoy doing with your kids. Live your life as an example to them.
Love that. That's a good place to end, isn't it? Wow. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed this.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.